Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
WWE's Wyatt Six have not appeared on television since late December 2024, and the anticipation among fans for their return is at an all-time high. The faction disappeared before truly making their mark after a loss against Final Testament on Raw. However, recent speculations and subtle hints suggest their return could be imminent, possibly as early as this week's SmackDown. With fans already invested in the group's mystique, their comeback could be a major creative moment for WWE. More than just another stable, the Wyatt Six serve as a spiritual continuation of Bray Wyatt's legacy. Each member represents a part of Wyatt's complex persona, making the group feel more like a tribute than a gimmick. The most important one is Uncle Howdy, portrayed by Wyatt's real-life brother, Bo Dallas. The star has been brilliant with his promos, and his in-ring performances have been incredible. When they return, Triple H must push the Wyatt Six, specifically Uncle Howdy, to the moon. The star needs strong creative direction, dominant wins, and a slow-burn storyline that builds him as a real manipulator in WWE. Whether he continues to work with the other members of the faction or goes his way, his path to glory must feel impactful, which he truly deserves. With fans still mourning Bray's loss, this is a chance to honor him while building a new legacy. A weak or forgotten return won't do justice to the idea of the faction. Triple H should seize the opportunity to make Howdy a headline moving forward. Alexa Bliss was rumored to align with Uncle Howdy on WWE SmackDown. Alexa Bliss was long connected to the eerie world of Bray Wyatt, making her a natural fit for the rumored Wyatt Six faction. Her transformation in 2020 with The Fiend was one of her most talked about storylines, blending psychological horror with her established character and in-ring talent. With Bray's unfortunate passing in 2023 and the introduction of Wyatt Six, fans immediately speculated that Bliss would be tied to the group once she returned. Those speculations intensified after she made her in-ring comeback at the 2025 Royal Rumble, with many believing WWE was preparing to reinsert her into the dark narrative she helped bring to life years ago. However, the prolonged absence of Wyatt Six has seemingly shifted WWE's creative direction for Bliss. Since her return, she hasn't shown signs of aligning with the faction. On last week's episode of SmackDown, Bliss returned and teamed up with Zelina Vega, making headlines around the globe. Furthermore, she had a brief backstage interaction with Charlotte Flair, which has opened up a number of opportunities for a new storyline. This shift suggests Triple H might keep Bliss away from the Wyatt Six for now. Fans will have to wait and see what WWE has in store for the star on the blue brand. The roar of the WWE Universe had quieted in recent weeks, but backstage, murmurs of a seismic shift were echoing through the corridors of Stamford and beyond. Whispers of a return. A resurgence. A push to the moon. And the man at the center of it all? Ricochet. Triple H, now firmly entrenched as the creative mastermind behind WWE's new era, sat in his dimly lit office at WWE headquarters. Staring at a monitor replaying Ricochet's jaw-dropping highlight reel, his death-defying dives, the springboard shooting star presses, the gravity-defying moments that once sent fans into frenzies, the game leaned back in his chair. "This," he muttered, "is the moment." For far too long, Ricochet had floated in the mid-card, his matches dazzling but directionless. He had been U.S. champion, Intercontinental champion. But never the guy. Injuries, stop-and-go pushes, and inconsistent booking had robbed him of momentum time and time again. Now, with a return on the horizon, Triple H was determined to right those wrongs. Because the WWE needed a new kind of superhero. One born not from comic books, but from the independent scene. A star who could connect with the diehards and wow the casuals. Someone who didn't need 6 feet 5 inches stature to command a stadium, but had awe in his arsenal. And Ricochet fit the bill. Chapter 1, The Return. It all began on an unassuming episode of Raw in Denver. Seth Rollins had just defended his World Heavyweight Championship against Damian Priest, only to be blindsided by the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio surrounded the fallen champ as the crowd booed mercilessly. Suddenly, the lights cut. A video package lit up the Titan, Tron. A heartbeat. A countdown. A slow pan to the sky, then a silhouette leaping through stars, flipping through constellations. The words "defying gravity" appeared. Then one name, in all caps. Ricochet. The arena erupted. Seconds later, Ricochet soared off the top rope, a missile of motion crashing into Dominic with a corkscrew moonsault. He sprang to his feet, arms wide, standing tall in a ring of stunned villains. The pop was thunderous. Internet chatter exploded. "Push him to the moon," fans tweeted endlessly. And Triple H, watching from Gorilla, simply smiled. Chapter 2, Flight Path to Gold. Triple H's blueprint was simple but bold: give Ricochet a clear path to the World Heavyweight Championship. Over the next several weeks, Ricochet would rack up wins against top-tier opponents: Shinsuke Nakamura, Bronson Reed, even Drew McIntyre, in a grueling 20-minute classic that left fans chanting, "This is awesome." But it wasn't just the matches. It was the vignettes. Triple H greenlit cinematic-style promos showing Ricochet training in the mountains of Colorado, meditating on his journey, watching old tapes of Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. "Every time I fall," Ricochet would narrate, "I rise again. Higher than ever before." And then came the inevitable clash: Ricochet vs. Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam. Chapter 3, The Moon Landing. The main event was billed as Skywalker vs. Architect. It was a storytelling masterpiece. Rollins, the veteran who had fought his way through countless injuries and reinventions. Ricochet, the man finally being given a chance to fly with no ceiling. They tore the house down. Dive for dive. Counter for counter. Superkick. 630 splash. Stomp attempt reversed into a codebreaker. The crowd was electric. And then, a moment that would define the decade. Rollins went for a Phoenix Splash. Ricochet dodged, hit a recoil, then scaled the top rope, double rotation moonsault. 1, 2, 3. Ricochet stood, title in hand, tears in his eyes. The crowd, 60,000 strong, chanted, "You deserve it," as confetti rained from the rafters. Triple H walked out and embraced him. Not as a boss, but as a believer. Chapter 4, Building a Legacy. Unlike past champions, Ricochet's reign wasn't about dominance. It was about heart. He defended against all comers: Sami Zayn, Gunther, Carmelo Hayes, even Roman Reigns, in a non-title dream match on Raw that shattered ratings records. But he also began elevating others. Working with underutilized stars like Mustafa Ali and Tyler Bate in must-see matches. "This isn't just about me," he'd say. "It's about showing that skill, heart, and passion can be just as powerful as any spear or F5. Merch sales spiked. Kids wore his masks. Hollywood came calling. Yet Ricochet remained grounded. Chapter 5, The Gravity of It All. As the months passed, Ricochet remained champion, but a new challenger emerged. Braun Breaker. Bigger. Stronger. Hungry. Their clash was inevitable. Survivor Series. Ricochet vs. Breaker. The High Flyer vs. the Wrecking Ball. And when Ricochet lost, clean, after a brutal spear, he handed the belt to Breaker with a smile, hugged him, and raised his hand. A passing of the torch. But that wasn't the end. It was just another leap. Epilogue, The Vision. Triple H sat down months later for a WWE documentary. "Ricochet?" he said. "He's not just a highlight reel anymore. He's proof that if you trust the talent, if you believe in what makes them special, they'll take you beyond the stars. That's why I pushed him to the moon." He leaned forward, that familiar glint in his eye. "And trust me, he's not coming down anytime soon.